Welcome back to Let's Talk Race and Modern. I'm your host, Harrison Paul. Brothers and sisters, we are talking reparations with the UK. I'm reading for The Guardian here. It says, Starmer says he wants to look forward and not talk about slavery reparations. UK Prime Minister would rather work with nations on future-facing challenges at Commonwealth Summit. Keir Starmer has insisted he wants to look forward rather than have very long, endless discussions about reparations on the past in his first comments on the issue before the Commonwealth Summit. The Prime Minister is under pressure to discuss reparatory justice with Commonwealth countries, most of which are former UK colonies, in Samoa this week. So they were in Samoa this week. Prince Charles was there also. He got a bit of a hard time. I'm proud of my people over there. And we're talking about reparations. Now, a good thing I have a few political friends, and I was having some discussions with some friends. I was like, what do you think about this whole theory about reparations? One of my friends said something very wise to me. And he said, a lot of times, these things, it's very hard to believe that they will happen, right? And bear in mind, the Commonwealth countries who would be pushing for this, they don't necessarily, sometimes truly believe that these countries are going to have that kind of, respect for black people, that they will actually pay it back. And when I say respect for black people, I mean other people have been paid reparations, like the Jews have been paid reparations. So I think this is a moment where we can just use it in order to make it a case. And when we make it this case, we make it a point of discussion. And we make it a point of discussion, other things around that topic get to be fixed, and we get to put pressure on the incentive and, and everything else that entails. So I think with that in mind, I actually began to look at this a little bit differently. And I was like, well, this is, it is true. Here we are talking about it. Here we are discussing the repercussions of slavery. Here we are discussing the legacy of colonialism. And I think this is probably the biggest winner out of anything compared to whatever payment we will get out of that. And I'm not saying that lightly as if the payment won't mean anything. I'm saying there's still a legacy that's been left psychologically in this society that creates imbalances within our society. And I think that has been the most profitable in terms of its longevity, right? But then again, look, even if I say that statement, I want to be careful because people who are watching will think, yeah, that money ran out a long time ago. No, a lot of the banks that sit today, a lot of the companies, a lot of the wealth that sits in the development that you so, weaponize and dangle in front of people when you're complaining about immigration. And one of the main reasons you are, the Western world has become the first world is because of that foot ahead you got. If the only reason you guys actually went out to look for other people is because you were hungry. The Brits were hungry and dying. You were dying here in the West. You weren't, doing the best you could be doing. You were actually dying, and you went out and found an opportunity. Now, we can talk about this in many different angles, but the angle I want to talk about it today is why it is important for us to push this topic. Now, it's a few things I'm going to discuss today, a few very, very important points. Let me start off with the tone in which I am hearing, just in general, the British media speak about this. I remember I woke up in the morning and it was the first one I saw. I'm not going to play that one today, but I remember instantly it was a Sky News report, and I just was watching the video on my YouTube, and I just thought to myself, I just hate the tone of we're just, obviously they're reporting it, but they're saying why. You can hear the undertone of, I just don't see why they can't just move on, And not to mention, I've been watching all the comments. I follow all news channels, Sky, BBC, you name it, Telegraph, and same things. And especially now, I get to see the British people in the comments, and the comments will have loads of likes of moochers or whatever. And my brother and sister, if you ever thought that you had, if you ever thought your Europe loved you, go and check those comments and you really understand. There's not even a hint of sensitivity towards the topic. It's just, surely they should have just got over it. And I actually responded to somebody. I couldn't help myself, guys. I'm sorry. And I said, it's quite daft that you would think that both you and the nations on the receiving end should feel the exact same way about this situation, and the exact same way about these inhumane events. And it's daft that you would assume that we are supposed to feel the exact same way about it, because there seems to be this arrogance, this air of dominance that I can dictate how you feel about it. And I actually said the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree if you are still feeling like you can dictate how I feel about something. That looks like a colonizer to me. That looks like a dictator to me. And these people, the people who are supposed to introduce, human rights and democracy, but you can just see how oppressive they are in their nature only when we cooperate, right? Only when we cooperate with the tone in which they want. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to give you a lesson today which is so important about why these things are so important to speak about. And I've got so much to go through here, and I'm excited about this. So we have the president of Guyana. And this is an interview that happened a year ago, and he was talking about reparations. Of course, Guyana also was one of the British colonies. And he is talking to, I'm not even sure the interviewer's name. I kind of remember his name, but it's called Good Morning Britain. And I'm not going to play much here. I just want you guys to get the tone in which this British news reporter speaks to a president. A president, brothers and sisters. Go and check this out.
To be around the
Mr.
table,
President,
so we can have commitment from all the stakeholders.
Okay, Mr. President, you make that clear very briefly now, because we're over time here. I know you've got to go and we've got to move on as well. But very briefly, coming back to where we came in, one of the points you're going to be making today is about our royal family. And you feel that it's not just about the finances involved here in terms of reparations for slavery, it's about the gestures. And you think that the British royal family should make a big gesture, don't you? What do you mean? Hand over a palace to your country?
Well, no, we don't want the British to hand over a palace that we built.
I love that. But let me not get caught up with his hilariousness for a second. Who slams a table at a president, brothers and sisters? Who slams a table at a president? Who slams a table? Are you insane? Who slams a table at a president? Let's get that one more time.
And you feel that it's not just about the finances involved here in terms of reparations for slavery, it's about the gestures. And you think that
Who slams the table at a president? My goodness, my goodness. And I've got another one here that quite reminded me of that same tone. I've been seeing a bunch of them, but these are the best ones I can bring up today. Let's go to this one here.
So what does reparation mean for you then? Does it simply mean a blank cheque?
No, absolutely not.
What does it simply mean? Like, what is it you want? Like, what? There's so much attitude. There's so much attitude. God, please help me bring this to my brothers and sisters today. We have allowed these people too much rail for too much long. We have given these people too much rope for too long. I think I have to jump straight into it because it's the best way for me to explain it. I was fortunate of doing my cardio today. I'm on the bike, and while I'm on the bike, I am listening to some, just YouTube, watching it like a TV or whatnot. And I watched Morgan Freeman. It just so happened that it came on. So, we got to thank God, when things happen in that kind of way, because I wouldn't have watched this. I wouldn't have been interested. In fact, I've been put off Morgan Freeman since he did his last little thing 16 years ago. But you know what I'm going to talk about. But I want to talk about, first, let me lay the foundation, right? And let me talk about what Morgan Freeman put 16 years ago, the famous quote, as we all know. Check this out.
Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
So, oh my gosh, I'm just going to get overly excited. I was angry at Morgan. For a very long time, I was angry at Morgan. Every time I would see someone quote him in a comment section and say, stop talking about racism, we would have got it. You guys are still milking it to this day. I'll think, damn you, Morgan. Damn you, Morgan. But that's why I love this new journey that God has me on in regards to decolonizing the mind and how much it really seeped into the psyche of the African. I'm lucky that I lead with love as I understand this issue, because you begin to look at it from an empathetic perspective and understanding the severity. And I always use an example. I know women are going to hate me because I'm like, they're going to stay out of our business, but here I am talking about black man, so I can talk about women as well. When you think about the dedication that women have to wigs, when you think about the and whoever watched this, whatever you get out of it, and you're gonna get out of it, and you watch from the outside and watch how other races can be normal in regards to accepting themselves. And think about a crown. A crown is at the top of your head, right? And we are the only race who wear somebody else's texture consistently. It is a rule amongst our race. When we look at these things, my brothers and sisters, I begin to realize that there's something seriously heavy and damaged within our community. And I'm learning that instead of blaming and hating the people who are in a state of deep sunkenness, consciousness, lacking consciousness, should I say, for me now, it's indicative of the severity of the operation that happened on the black man. It's no longer a case of, why aren't you walking? It's more a case of, wow, that car must have hit you heavy when it crippled you. When I look at the tone of these reporters and someone slamming the table, and I look at the tone of that woman, so what is it? It's a blank check then? And all the things I was watching, just these undertones, I just know them so well. I just wanted to say to you, brothers and sisters, like, I'm going to give you the best example. I was thinking about examples I could give, because you know me, I like examples. And I was thinking about how I remember when I was younger, and my mom used to say this to me sometimes. I don't know if you ever got this. And she asked me to do something. Let's say, I can't even remember exactly, but let's say she asked me to do something, and I didn't want to do it, or something happened, whatever. And I'd be like, okay, what then? What do you want me to do? What do you want? And his mom, like, are you trying to scare me? Don't talk to me like you're trying to scare me, you know? And obviously, you know, I was trying to, and I'd have to fix my tone. You know, that I don't want to say patronizing, where you're kind of trying to, you get what I'm trying to say, like, don't talk to me with this tone. And I want to use another example to back that example now. You know those relationships in which someone has a great way of sucking the blood out of you, of pressing you and closing you into a corner, and you are controlled by their attitude or their whatever. This is a representation of the relationship we've had with Western society. They've had the power to exile us, to deem us dangerous, deem us difficult, deem us uncivilized, all these things. So our cooperation, our life depended on our ability to cooperate, or else you were just the bad Negro. You would just be put into this dangerous or scary or whatever. So your ability to be nice and to let things go over your head and let things go down your back had become a skill that we actually had to attain to survive. To survive. So you're in this toxic relationship that really, are you allowed to feel what you should be feeling? Were we actually handed feelings of what we were supposed to feel about certain things? And I'm knowing this now because, like illness, it shows up somewhere else. A lot of times people who have illnesses, it turns out you were blocking something down here and it was showing up in your health. And I feel that that's in the community with so many different things in which, you know, how it manifests itself, how it shows, it's showing up in different areas. And I used Morgan Freeman here, and I said I was angry with him because today I see another Morgan Freeman video that by mistake I saw it. Morgan Freeman got on, it said Morgan Freeman, an old white man, Morgan Freeman on old white men presidents. I'm thinking, Morgan Freeman talking about white men? Morgan Freeman? Ain't this the guy who said, stop talking about it? Don't call me black, I won't call you white. Check this out.
So, as a man who has been in this country through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, all of the decades, do you feel like this is a more difficult time than any of those? Is it better? Are we just...
No, I think, to tell you the truth, I think we're living in the most dangerous times since we got attacked in 1941.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's your feeling on it.
Yeah.
And you're not a person who, I mean, you look to the future, which I think many people your age aren't necessarily that interested in, because...
I'm terribly interested in it.
Yeah. You support legalization of cannabis. I know that. That is something that you are involved with. You narrated Kamala Harris's video at the Democratic National Convention. Not only did you do that, you narrated Senator Hillary Clinton's video at the Democratic National Convention.
Yes.
You really want a female president, don't you?
I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'm, racist or anything like that. I'm not. Well, maybe to a point. But I think, it's time we moved on from old white men running the country.
Be a nice change.
Man, this job is so emotional for me. Sometimes I actually feel like crying. Brothers and sisters, when you hear me have grace for sometimes the Obamas or the Kamalas or anybody in their 60s, 70s, anybody in a different generation, what they endured in comparison to what they endured, the way it shaped their mind, we have to have empathy for that. Sometimes we're expecting people of that generation, and of course there were special ones of that time also, but people of that generation to have the same level of radicalism that we have actually had the freedom to have, forgetting that people paved the way that this can become the foundational level, the bare minimum level of, consciousness. And I'm looking at an old man here who probably spent his whole life trying to think how I can work around this racism, if I get it away, if I don't talk about it, if I whatever. And it took him to get to his old brittle age. Oh, guys, this makes me emotional. Where he's thinking, I tried everything with these people. I tried everything with these people. I tried absolutely everything with these people. I'm done trying. And here he is trying to get a nice little jab at it. At what, 80-something years old? Could have done it in his younger age. But probably was just thinking, how can I just get by? This was just trying to wrap his head. And this is when I say, the reason a grown man was in that place where he was denying his own struggle and trying to manipulate himself is because you got people who slam the table and say, anyway, what is it like? Scare you out of feeling, like my mom said, you're trying to scare me out of telling you what's right. You forgot to clean your room. You forgot to do what you were supposed to do. Now you're trying to ask me, okay, what do I do? What do I do then? To scare me, to reverse psychology out of this. You got someone say, what is it then? A blank check? You've got people, do you understand, who, they're so coercive. And this is what we've dealt with as a community. We've dealt with this. This is why I see so many brothers and sisters who are Uncle Toms in our community. That's a unisex term too, anybody who's wondering. So many. And if you truly understand a colonized mind, if you truly understand the severity of the operation, the power struggle, how that power enabled us, that we had to actually shape ourselves to fit into that, to make them feel most comfortable. That is what success meant for a black man for a long time. I've been frequently saying I was actually having a conversation, I'm going to be quite honest, I was having a conversation with a brother of mine, and he was saying to me how he was being bullied by some black woman, he's a younger little brother of mine. And I go, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, black women, when they want to bully you, they can bully you for real. They can bully you for real. They can laugh at you, make jokes about you, whatever. I said, yeah, but I also understand that came from, I explained this to young brother, That came from what they received in society. They had to build a shell. They had to build a strong, tough shell. So they become a little bit of a mount. They come a little bit, and we can't say, oh, black women, see, they got a mount. We had part to play in that. When we were also submitting to white supremacy and trying to climb that ladder, that social ladder of white supremacy, and we stepped on our women to get there. And we adored the white man's woman and neglected our own woman. Yeah, maybe you never made any jokes about black women, but she had to see you having so much reverence for their flowy hair, and now you're wondering why she won't let go of the weave. Oh, I like black women who don't wear weaves. Take some responsibility, man. Now you wondering when they don't see all majority of us run after the other side. We have to have empathy of how, like I said, the car crash, how heavy it hit on us, rather than say, get up and walk. And especially if they won't have empathy or even understanding about what happened to us, how the heck is anybody gonna do that? We, as the leaders of our community, must do that first. So I'm thinking of Morgan here, an old brittle man. He's thinking to himself, I just gotta come out and say it now. Look how well I can keep my pain in, or I can, this false sense of strength. And it seems like this new generation, you're allowing this Trump campaign to, oh, we're overly emotional. Stop being overly emotional. You're being manipulated. Yeah, actually, yeah, let me show how strong I am by not allowing to see how much nonsense I can take, to a place, guys, where you actually become desensitized to nonsense and you actually generally think people who have undertones are nice. And I always want to say this, and I'm getting a chance to say it now. That's why a lot of times I think white people think we are stupid. It's because we actually fail to read the room a lot of times, not because we're stupid, but because we forcibly made ourselves desensitized to certain things that we just smile in all 32 teeth. And they know, and they can see us from the outside that this nigga just keep on smiling at everyone. This nigga don't know that I don't really have respect. And it's in the air. I don't respect him the way he think I respect him, but he must think that I'm really fond of him. And you just smiling. I see this video. It's so funny. I might put on the screen. If I can find it, I might put it on the screen. If not, I just have to go by it because it's hell.
No, because he's no, but he does. He dances when there's no music playing.
Yeah, smile's really big too.
It's also you find that means that oh yeah.
There is. It's just this funny video of a comedian. But listen, my brothers and sisters, this is what I'm trying to tell you today. This is what we had to go through. So now when we have the conversation about reparations, I think it's important that we let these people know that we're pushing you to the corner. And we're not going to allow you to scare us like you did our fathers, who just wanted to make a way, our mothers who just wanted to make a way, get by, put their head down, who were also deeper in this colonized mind, deeper in the fear of the white man. Not gonna just scare us off and say, okay, what do you want? Get over it. Like, no, we gotta push and push and push and push and push and push and push. Because like I said, more than the money, it is important for them to know that we take this matter very seriously. More than the money, the legacy of colonialism has done more damage. Here he is, an old man, trying to get his last kick at it, his last jab at it, last few jabs at it. Probably looking back at that video embarrassed for himself, thinking, I thought when I come off that air, they would see me eye to eye. Then you realize, as Jay-Z would say, still nigga, what's it say? OJ, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And you realize you still won. This is not about money. This is not about greed. This is about a sentiment that we all feel and we understand, that they have psychologically benefited and beneficiaries of the legacy of colonialism, and even financially. So we can't come here when you got a head off of our backs, and then we come here and you're oppressing us over here, undertones over here, and we have to be grateful when we come across one nice white person. Or when you're just nice enough or have a bit of cop on not to call me the N-word, and I should praise you and worship you because you don't call me that to my face anymore. This is the standards they have set for ourselves. We're so low. They want us to lavish off crumbs of, emotional crumbs, if I can call them. Energy vibe crumbs. Absolutely not. Or these petty, tokens, or this petty, like, here, look, I'm such a nice person because I can be nice to my, neighborhood Negro. It is a psychological battle. This is the season. This is the season of reparations. This is the generation of reparations, brothers and sisters. But this is on our shoulders, not to feel like, do what Morgan did and say, let me not talk about it. Oh, goodness, I've been seeing a lot of brothers trying to hit that, let me not talk about it. But to me, they look like brothers I can already tell. When I see a brother hitting that, let me not talk about it, I already know you a bunny hopper. But let me not go there. Let me sign off the episode very quickly. That's all I got to say today, brothers and sisters. It was short. It was sweet. And yeah, this is a psychological battle. And I'm proud of the leaders of the Commonwealth for pushing this because it is time for reparations psychologically and materially. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'm on a mission for you.